Yeah, good question, Quentin. I guess that's just like the morality issue, right? If you don't believe in a higher power, you don't have a higher objective moral standard, like where do your ethics come from? And, the answer to that is really just, it comes from a place of understanding that to progress the species, to progress humankind, is that we need to find the best ways to get along with each other. A secular moral framework comes from understanding that in order for society to progress and for all of us to get along to each other's benefit, we have to treat each other a certain way. And I'm not talking about like laws necessarily. Yeah, we draft laws based on these moral and ethical structures. It's why we have, things like, if you murder somebody, you go to prison, right? Very simple. That comes from an understanding that if we want society to progress and we want to get along with one another, we shouldn't go around killing each other, right? And we want to remain the dominant species on this planet. We don't want to get overrun by the bugs. We don't want velociraptors to be resurrected from the dead like InGen did, and I guess how we're trying to do now. We brought back woolly mammoths. We brought back what are those wolves? And I'm saying, man, velociraptors are the next step. And if Jurassic Park is right, they're going to take over the planet. So we need to be good to each other. Dire wolves. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. In my opinion, humans are inherently good. Yeah, I generally agree with that. Most people want to do good. They want to be good to one another in general. There are the outliers. There are the people who truly lack empathy. I think in order to have empathy, it sort of takes like an innate understanding of the golden rule. It's like, shit, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, right? Because I understand how that would make me feel, so I would not want that. I wouldn't wish for that to happen to somebody else, or vice versa, if it's something I would enjoy. But again, it's like, that's the problem with it, is that it makes you the moral arbiter. Let's say you enjoy something that somebody else doesn't, right? And you say it's morally good. They might disagree with that. And that's sort of the inherent flaw with the golden rule. But again, it's a good starting point.
I'm a demon.
So are we only here for survival? Technically, I like the way my favorite atheist spokesperson puts it. He would say it's beyond just survival. It's more about thriving. It's not just about surviving. It's more about thriving, because we want to survive, but we want to get better at surviving. We want society to progress. We want life to be easier and more, as Hondo would put it, more profitable for everybody, So it's more than just survival. Survival is good. That's a great first step, but we also want to thrive. Yeah, it, like I mentioned, murder sounds a lot like thou shalt not kill. It sounds exactly like thou shalt not kill. And I would argue that is a universal understanding from the human species itself, that killing each other is bad for our species. On a biological level, like our literal cells are telling us, yo, this is not good for us. And that's why we come up with these rules. We lock up murderers, and God passed down the 10 commandments of thou shalt not murder. It's because we understand that that's bad for us. So I don't think it comes from any kind of higher power. I think the morals and the moral framework just comes from people. It comes from humans, and the desire to want to progress and thrive and be better and do better. That's why I love the scientific method. That's how I always describe the scientific method, is that it's the only methodology that aims to get better at getting better. If there's a flaw in the system, it wants to find that flaw, because it can't work with that flaw. And it will eventually find the flaw, and it'll weed it out.
You ignorant sack of meat.
I'm told almost every day online that I'm easy pickings for demons because the devil's finest trick is to persuade you that he does not exist.
Yes.
Even a lot of evangelists just straight up teach that.
Yeah. And I get it. I completely get it from the evangelist's perspective. Like me over here preaching about science, this is 100% the devil speaking through me. And I get it. I get it not from a literal standpoint. I'm not literally possessed by the devil, but what I represent is in opposition to God, which by default becomes of the devil, because anything that's against God is evil and is of Satan, because that's just how it is. You know what I mean? So you only have morals until you get enough people in your tribe, then it's no holds barred, morals out the window. No, I don't think when you cross a certain threshold of people. So I would assume that the morals would get even stronger, because in order to be a part of that society, whatever that society is, you would have to be bound by the moral framework. Like, if there's rules, you have to follow them. That's really what it is. It's like, that's why a society is allowed to exist. So check this out. I used to live with a fundamentalist Christian. He was a God-fearing man, loved Jesus, and I actually went to church with him. And I was the heathen atheist, right? But I went to church with him all the time. And we got into this discussion about natural selection and evolution. He was arguing against Darwin, and it's like why evolution couldn't be real. And he conflated morality with natural selection, or no, it was survival of the fittest. He was conflating morality with survival of the fittest, and he was saying, it's like, well, isn't survival of the fittest bad, like morally bad? And that's an interesting question, because I wouldn't say survival of the fittest is morally bad, but it's not good for society. That's why we don't live in a survival of the fittest setting when we have human society. Like, that's kind of the point of it. We have rules, and we have to obey those rules, and those rules are based on a moral framework that we all understand. Like, we have to treat each other a certain way. When we talk about like Western culture and like the Western way of life, and how I know Christians like to attribute a lot of that to the Judeo-Christian moral framework. They'll say it's founded in that, and it's like, yeah, it may be. But I would argue that those axioms, those values are not necessarily rooted, that transcends God. Like that, as crazy as that sounds, that's just a human thing that we understand. It's kind of like what we talked about, why we don't murder each other, because it's bad for the progression of our species. Like, that's exactly what it comes down to. We are biological beings. We are hardwired to progress and copulate and make more of us. That's the entire point of our existence from a biological standpoint. Consciousness makes it tricky, because consciousness makes us aware of ourselves, and it makes us question our place in the cosmos. Like, a deer in the woods doesn't have the same level of conscious thought we do. Maybe it does, and it just understands that it's just a fucking deer, and its place is to graze on grass and eventually get mauled by the mountain lion. So, maybe the deers just got it figured out, and we're the weirdos who are just like, oh, what's the point of life? What are we supposed to do? It's just exist, like, be better, be good to each other. You know what I mean? And pray you don't get mauled by a mountain lion. And see, that's just it. That's kind of what I was touching on, Quentin, is that you unknowingly already follow Christianity to a point. It's like, yeah, and my counter to that is, I think Christianity follows morals and values that transcend more than just the religion. Like, it's just something that is objectively good because it is good for us. It's good for humanity, and Christianity recognizes that. That's good. We should praise that, applaud that. Well done.